have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world. When you hit that play button, wherever you are, you hit play, and I am so glad you did. You have found the Genesis Frequency Podcast, and I am Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you today in this brand new episode, and we're going to jump right in here. Just so you know, this show is all about your personal, professional, leadership, and spiritual development, all of the above. And it has been from the beginning. And this is for you as just an individual living life the best way you can, getting the most out of life, tapping into your infinite potential. This is for you as a small business owner or someone stepping into the wonderful world of becoming an entrepreneur. And I can help you with that if that's what you want to do. This is for you if you are an element, a participant, a member of a corporate team in a corporate environment, in a bigger business. Yes, this is for you. This is for your team. This is for everyone in the organization, including you. Yes, you, C suite executives. I have some that are listening to this show, and anywhere in the entire organization, because we can all show up and be a better version of ourselves today than we were yesterday. And that's what we strive to do. But we don't strive to do that living from the outside in. We look at ways we can work in harmony with just the laws of life, the laws of infinite potential, and draw from within us that which will help us to be more effective and more efficient in all that we undertake to do in our personal and our professional lives. Yes, this is about goal achievement. Yes, this is about quantum leap goal achievement, meaning, hey, we want to get there in the most efficient way. So that should speed up the whole process, right? So I often talk about doing things in a certain way. That's what this show is about, the certain way of doing things. And yes, I will write a book about the certain way. But for right now, this information is shared within this podcast. And don't let this fall on deaf ears just because this podcast is coming at you for free and for no charge, because there's tremendous value in what I share with you. A lifetime of study, of reading, of applying, of taking action on these principles, learning, studying, and over and over again, and the repetition. So it makes a difference in the application in my own life. And so I'm sharing that with you to help others, to alleviate the struggle and maybe the suffering some of us experience when we do want more. When we look at what we're doing and say, man, I think I'm doing it all. Why do I keep getting stuck? So this show and what I do is about helping you to get unstuck and to move quickly into the life you would love to live, to satisfy any longing and discontent you have personally and professionally. So when I talk about corporations or businesses, the corporation and the business is an entity in and of itself. So you want to look at this information as the microcosm and the macrocosm. Like, so if I'm talking about an individual, this applies to the corporation as an organism in and of itself too, because we have corporate paradigms, we have corporate programming, we have corporate habits that are all contributing to the culture and the energy that we experience or the consumer experiences when they move into our business. So, going back to what I was saying, from our human perspective, we tend to place little or no value on that which we get for free. It's just human nature. So, I don't want you to do that within the time that you allot to listening to the show. In fact, I invite you to go deeper, to reach out to me at Stephen, Stephen, at successocean.com and schedule some time for us to speak so we can go deeper, so we can get that accountability in place so that you are actually retaining and learning and applying and taking action on what I share with you here. And so what I'm really doing right now is just kind of setting up this show, this what I want to share with you, because if you notice, I include personal, professional, leadership, and spiritual development. And I don't really talk too much about the spiritual element. And is there a reason for that? I suppose so. I work in the goal achievement space, but the spirituality is such a big part of that that it's inherent in everything I talk about. And I want to pay a little bit of attention to that today because so many words just roll off my tongue from doing this for so many years. And if I'm talking to one group, perhaps in a corporate space, I will I'll work really hard to make sure that my language and the words that I use are appropriate for that environment. If I'm working with an individual, I'll get to know a little bit about you and your background and environment and likes and dislikes, and I will use language that's appropriate when I speak with you. So it's the same thing for this show. I want to make sure that I'm communicating in such a way that you are receiving the message effectively and efficiently. However, since words and phrases roll off my tongue so easily, I'm just kind of slowing down today in this episode and really paying attention because I do want to talk about today that infinite power that you are, that infinite potential that is there within you, and that so few are conscious of, that so few tap into. And I'm reminded of this with this little, when I have this little bowl, a brass bowl. It was a gift. It's very beautiful. And I guess you would call it a singing bowl or a Tibetan bowl or meditation bowl. You can call it so many things. And I don't think that when I strike it, that it comes across or the microphone picks it up. I just did. Maybe you hear it, maybe you don't. I don't know. When I play this back, I'll know. But I'm looking at this and it's reminding me of all of us. That bowl can sit on my desk and it can catch things. I have some polished stones and gems in it, and I have some little things. I have a feather in it and some crosses and things like that. And none really have a whole lot of meaning. There's a rosary in there that my mom held when she made her transition. So I guess that has tremendous meaning for me personally. But my point is the bowl just sits there. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't make any noise until it is acted upon to produce a very beautiful sound at a very beautiful frequency. I have to either strike it in a certain way or I have to make a circular motion with a special mallet I have around either the rim or the sides of the bowl for it to produce a sustained frequency. So I'm just looking at that. I said, man, that's just like how we all are. Because this bowl is sitting there as pure potential to make this beautiful sound and this beautiful frequency. But it's up to me to draw it out, to engage it, to engage with it. The gift has already been given, right? The bowl has been crafted, it has been molded and shaped in a very certain way to produce the sound and the frequency that I enjoy hearing. I call it my meditation bowl because in my time of prayer and meditation, I strike it 3 times and then I go to the silent room, so to speak, within and do what I do. But this bowl, it's just like us. We have this place, this space of infinite potential within us that is there. It's already been designed. It's already been crafted. It's already been molded and shaped to produce whatever it is we want to experience in our lives. But we have to take action upon it. We have to cooperate, just like this bowl. I have to cooperate in a certain way that produces the sound. And hold on 1 second. I just dropped my glasses. I have to cooperate with it in a certain way. I can stare at it and I can listen intently, but I have to take action. And so it is with our infinite potential. Let me share with you from one of the books that I am studying, Robert Collier, and it is Riches Within Your Reach, the law of higher potential, because that's really what we're talking about here. Do we really pay attention to this higher potential, this infinite potential, this higher self that we are? And it's so important. Robert says in his book, it takes understanding and faith to use our powers, and so few have the patience to work for them. Men and women will study for years to become doctors or lawyers or engineers, and they will start the practice of their professions in fear and trembling, realizing that it'll be years before they will have gained enough practical knowledge from experience to be really competent in their work. Yet they will read a book or two on psychology or some of the mental sciences, like we talk about in this show. And if they cannot put the principles into practice the next day, they give up in disgust and condemn the principles. And he says, as Tommy rot. This was written a long time ago with words we don't use these days. He says, of all the fields of study, none offers such possibilities as the study of the inner powers of man. None offers such sure rewards to the persevering, sincere student. Yet there is no field so neglected by the average man. Isn't that something? We just drift through life. We have these tremendous generators, these singing bowls inside of us capable of producing power enough to accomplish any purpose we want. But yet we often get nowhere. And why is that? And hey, you can shut this off if you want, but this does apply to you in the corporate boardroom as well, in the nonprofit boardroom, in the ministry boardroom. Listen, you have to get back to principle, to power, to source, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not talking about religiosity here. I'm talking about an awareness of this potential and this power and this source that we all come from. And we have to get into an awareness that we are all creative centers. And I think we spend too much time drifting away from that. And we are creatures of habit. So we drift back to, I have to go by the facts. I have to go from the input I'm receiving from my senses, from what I see, from what I hear, from what I taste, from what I touch. And we do that alone. It's called the report card syndrome or the balance sheet syndrome, often in nonprofits and on boards in ministries or in organizations, whatever it's a financial institution, whether it's a medical institution, a retail, automobile dealership, whatever it is. It's balance sheet syndrome. Here's the facts. Here's it right in front of you. We have to make our decisions based on this, based on the results that are showing up. And that is not going to get you to where you want to be. You have to be aware of the creative centers each and every one of us is. each individual is, and start from source. Start from that higher self. Start from on high, whatever name you want to give to it. Let me share from Dr. Ernest Holmes this piece that's titled "I'm a Creative Center." And hey, there's some words maybe we don't use in the corporate space as much, but maybe we should. Maybe it's time for you to live from your higher self, from your infinite potential, and just prove this. Prove this in your life and in your experience, that you don't have to think from the input of your senses all the time. Yes, we intuit and we use reasoning, and there is input that will play a factor, but exclusively living from sensory input will most definitely lead you astray. This piece says, let your consciousness rise above the sense of separation from the power of God. We can say the power of good, the power of life, the power of love, the power of energy that just is. Whatever words you want to use, it doesn't matter. Let your consciousness rise above the sense of separation from this power. And in a few moments, you will feel as though you were sitting in the midst of an infinite sea of unobstructed life. Uppercase L on that life, by the way, people. Uppercase L. Think about that. For a few moments, you will feel as though you were sitting in the midst of an infinite sea of unobstructed life. This place in mind, uppercase M, infinite mind, infinite potentiality, where you are now is the source, uppercase S, of all action, the center of all creativity. It is also the innermost part of your own being. Just as a plant turns to the sun, your thoughts turn to the power and draw it down through your being, causing it to manifest through your word, just like I strike the bowl to produce something, right? It manifests through your word. Go back a few episodes. I did a whole episode just on your word. I continue. In this act, you are not losing your identity. You are more intensely self-conscious than ever before. But you are conscious in a larger, less obstructed manner. How do we get obstructed? By just focusing on the input from sense consciousness. Whatever you decree, whatever you state, whatever you affirm from this altitude of thought will produce definite results. The law of life exists in all of us at all times, and we are using it whether or not we are conscious of the fact. We'll talk about that in a minute. If we wish to make a specific use of this law of life, then we must use it specifically. And that's what I talk about. The certain way of thinking, of being, of doing in order to have what we want to have. And this concludes with an affirmative thought. I now climb a ladder of thought that takes me above all confusion. Input from the senses can indeed cause confusion. I now climb a ladder of thought that takes me above all confusion. Climbing joyously, I pass through the clouds of fear and doubt. I behold light everywhere. I sense the enveloping presence of love everywhere. The good that I desire, I now affirm and accept, knowing that my definite intentions produce definite results. Isn't that what you want? To create the intention. Remember, I told you what your power is. Your power is an awareness of your ability or the awareness of your ability or the awareness that you have a choice, your ability to make a decision, your intention that you set, and your commitment to that intention. So think about that. I now affirm and accept, knowing that my definite intentions produce definite results. But let's go back to Robert Collier. Yet they will read a book or two on psychology or some of the mental sciences. They will listen to a podcast or two, right? They'll read a book. And if they cannot put the principles into practice the next day, they give up in disgust and condemn the principles. And so many people do. Oh, he's talking that airy-fairy stuff. No, I'm talking law. Law. Just like gravity. Just like this sum total of triangles, right? Law is. That's what we talk about here. Your potential is infinite. You have this power, but we don't take the time to rise on high and think and be and live and draw from this place, this space, this infinite, our source. We don't have the discipline to turn it over. And we're going to continue down this. I'm just about out of time for today. So I went down an avenue that I don't often go down enough. And we're going to talk more about this because this is the key. This is really the biggest key. We can't ignore it. You can't ignore source. You can't ignore infinite life, uppercase L, and power there to support you, just like my singing bowl is there. And it doesn't change. It doesn't say, well, I'm going to produce a sound when you strike it one day, and when you strike it the next day, well, maybe I won't. It is not withholding any of its good that it is willing to produce for me, not withholding it. I just have to cooperate with it in a certain way. And that's what this is all about. This is how we tap into that infinite potential, that infinite power that we all are. We'll talk more about this. I hope you got something out of this today. I hope it inspired you or motivated you in some way to just stay the course, apply and take action what you hear here. Reach out to me. Successappointment.com gets you on my calendar. Successappointment, all one word.com gets you on my calendar. Stephen, Stephen, at successocean, all one word.com is my email. Reach out. Let's have a conversation how we can take this into your company, your corporation, your ministry, just your life as an individual, and make some changes. Set the intention, make a commitment, and move into the life you would love to live, the experiences you would love to experience, the satisfaction of any longing and discontent you may have. Reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. That's going to do it for today. I love this stuff. I'm passionate about it. We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to make a difference in your life. I promise you that. Don't go anywhere. Like, comment, share, whatever you got to do. Send me a message. Put it in the comments section if you have one wherever you're listening to this podcast. It's going to make its way to me. If it's supposed to, it will. That's going to do it. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast with Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina. And you know what? I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.